Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. All right, Detroit Lion fans, are you ready for this? Because this is one of the most cringiest, most insane clip I've seen in a while. It's like, I don't even know what to say. You're going to get annoyed. You're going to get heated. You're going to get angry. Don't worry. I'm going to play 2 clips from them, and then I'm going to completely disarm them and own them, whatever the heck they're about to say, because it's so absurd and just ridiculous that I had to make a video about this. So let's just jump right into it and we'll unpack from there. But try not to throw your phone at the wall or break your computer when you just hear absolute nonsense for the next couple minutes. So here we go.
2 teams pursuing the same prize, and more specifically, they're one of 16 teams trying to get to the Super Bowl. And you can tell when a team has never won the Super Bowl or never been to the Super Bowl, because all they care about is getting there. They'll worry about winning it when they get there. They've never been there. Let's just get there. Here's Campbell from yesterday on whether or not
most players in the NFL who actually matter don't have any Super Bowls. They've never been there either. So you're talking about the tiniest little percentage of players that get to have the luxury of going to multiple Super Bowls, winning multiple Super Bowls. That is a very, very tiny little VIP section. So to act like that's something to bring down the Detroit Lions is insanity.
He sees the Lions in 2024 as Super Bowl or bust.
I don't see bust. I see Super Bowl. I don't know what the bust is. So
Super Bowl or nothing
it's,
else.
here's what I know, man. We all know what every team ought to have that, right? Every team ought to be like, man, what are you playing for? You're playing for a Super Bowl. So we're no different than that. But I think, we know that now. We work backwards from there. And so you got to set yourself up no different than last year. Certain things you got to do to really make that valid, make that a reality. So, and so that's, ultimately that's what we want to do. Now to do that, you better win the division. You got to give yourself the best odds you can, right? You need to win the division. You need the best seeding you possibly do. Okay, well, how do you do that? Well, you got to start with where we're at now. You got to go back to work. You got to do all the little things, which to this point our guys have done, man. They've been here for off season. They're grinding. They're working. We're in good shape. We're strong. We're physical. We're explosive. And we're just in the beginning of this.
I said what I'm about to say at some point this week, and I have no recollection whatsoever whether I said it here or on one of the various radio spots that I do. So if I can't remember it, chances are if you're listening, you don't remember it either. But what the Lions did last year was bust. He doesn't know what bust is. What they did last year was bust. 17-point lead at halftime. Blow that lead. That's what bust is. Super Bowl or bust. Bust means losing the game just before the Super Bowl, specifically when you're winning the game and you're up 3 scores and you make a bunch of bad decisions and a bunch of bad things happen, and the team that you have on the ropes finds a way to resurrect their chances and knock you out. Now, here's the reality for the Lions, and I think this is why Dan Campbell said what he said in the immediate aftermath of the loss to the 49ers. He said to the team, this might have been our only shot. And he's right, because Shireen, and this is something that I remember saying 5 years ago when Kyle Shanahan was doing something with season ticket holders, and what do you want for the 2020 49ers? Well, I want to get back to the point where we're up 10 points with 7 minutes left to go in the Super Bowl, and I want to finish the job. And I remember criticizing him saying, Kyle, that was the hard part. The easy part is landing the plane up 10 with 7 minutes left in the Super Bowl. The hard part is getting to the point where you've checked every box to get to the Super Bowl and have a 10-point lead with 7 minutes to play. And that same thing applies to the Lions. The hard part is getting to the point where you're up 24-7 after 30 minutes of the NFC Championship game played on the road.
The easy part to close out the Kansas City Chiefs or close out an unbelievable offensive juggernaut of a team in the 49ers with the genius of Kyle Shanahan. Like, what are we talking about? Closing games isn't the easy part. Start to finish, it's hard. Every step of the way is hard. Every regular season game is hard. Staying healthy is hard. Playing in the playoffs is hard. Winning in the playoffs is hard. Getting a lead in the playoffs is hard. keeping the lead in the playoffs is hard. So what are you talking about? Who in their right mind, specifically now just for the 49ers versus the Chiefs, thinks that going up against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, that closing that game out is the easy part? I just don't. That's such an insane statement to make. And yes, I've said before, I wasn't happy with what Dan Campbell did in that game against the 49ers. I think he should have kicked some field goals, right? I believe that. But this idea that they just completely fumbled the bag and it's just all their fault and and now what he's saying, what Dan Campbell was saying with regards to it being this could have been our only chance, it's like that for everyone. There's no guarantee that Patrick Mahomes will ever make another Super Bowl again. That's just the reality. Technically, the odds of any given year, you're less likely to make it or win a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes this season doesn't have a greater than 50% chance at getting to another Super Bowl. That's just basic math, basic statistics. That's just the way it goes. Because it's really, really hard. So that's essentially what Dan Campbell was saying. That, listen, that might have been our only chance. But it's like that for every single team. So again, to try to cherry pick that and point that out and be like, aha, you admit that about the Lions. I mean, that's just insane. So it's just because we know a lot of players believe that they'll be back and they never are back. We've seen that with so many players who have won, players who have lost, whatever it may be. They always think, okay, we'll be back next year. That's all Dan Campbell was speaking upon. So he wasn't even saying anything that was that groundbreaking. But again, to isolate that little quote as kind of like an aha is just insane. Now here's the next clip I'm going to show you by Shireen Williams. I honestly don't even know who she is. I just came across this clip. But she now says something that is absurd to me. Absolutely absurd.
On defense, it really all comes back to how Jared Goff plays, and that's what we go back to with most teams, Mike, is how does the quarterback play? You're going to go as far as your quarterback is going to take you, and he did not put. Now it wasn't his fault. The fumble was, to me, in that NFC Championship game, was huge and changed the momentum and probably changed everything about that game. That wasn't his fault. But he did not play well at the end of that game. He did not play well in the Super Bowl with the Rams. So he's got to go prove that he can win a big game.
He did not play well with a limited offense against the dynasty of Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. While Jared Goff was still essentially a baby. Yeah, okay, let's go hold his feet to the fire for not being able to do something that majority of quarterbacks can't do against the Patriots. And of course it wasn't his fault in the NFC Championship game. He didn't do anything to pull down the Detroit Lions. Like, again, what a lazy, absurd take. A nonsense take. Makes zero sense to me. No sense at all. I mean, it's insane. And this idea that the Lions will only go as far as Jared Goff will take them is such an insult to the roster that they built. That's essentially saying this. That's what this is essentially saying. That Jared Goff, if he plays well, that he'll then carry the Lions and they'll win. Or that if he doesn't play good, that the Lions aren't good enough to overcome any like kind of bad moments or limited moments. And again, so I guess David Montgomery is just a scrub. Jameer Gibbs is a scrub. Amon-Ra St. Brown's a scrub. Williams, Laporta, Decker. I mean, like, what are we saying here? Aiden Hutchinson. Like, I'm confused by this. Like, where do we get off thinking that this team is now just a bunch of scrubs that live and die by Jared Goff? Again, I think Jared Goff is a great quarterback, but it's such an insult to the rest of the rest of the guys, the rest of the team, that like if only Jared Goff played better in the NFC Championship game, then they would have somehow won. Like it was Jared Goff's fault. Jared Goff threw a perfect pass to convert that fourth down. That unfortunately just didn't happen. So to put this all on Jared Goff or to say that the team's not good enough and they're just going to live and die by whatever Jared Goff can do, this doesn't make any sense to me. It's just not accurate. Yes, the quarterback position is incredibly important. No one's disputing that. So if we want to play that game, then we can say that about every single team. The 49ers will only go as far as Brock Purdy plays good or bad. The Kansas City Chiefs will only go as far as Patrick Mahomes. The Josh Allen and the Bills will only go as far as Josh Allen goes. Right? Like, okay, because we know the quarterback position is really important. But the way she's kind of emphasizing it, she's acting like it's like unique to the Lions and that this team is really just Jared Goff, and that if he plays good, then they'll be able to find a way to win, and if he doesn't, then they're not. And it's just like, again, Jared Goff matters to this team just as much as any quarterback does. So to paint that, to single that out again, makes no sense to me. And to try to do it in a way that pulls Jared Goff down makes no sense to me. It really doesn't. It's like saying Patrick Mahomes really needs to be able to throw the ball accurately to win games. Well, yes, because he's the quarterback. Of course he does. What? Patrick Mahomes needs to be able to see with his eyes going into the Super Bowl. Because if he's blind, I don't know how he's going to be able to play. Well, yeah, duh. Why are we even saying that? Why are we saying the obvious? So it's just nonsense to me. So I don't know. Does this show extra hate the Detroit Lions? I don't know, honestly. This is the first clip that I've done from NFL on ABC. But I saw it and I just felt like my head was going to explode. And so I figured you Detroit Lions fans would want to see it, because it was just like, oh my God, I just the best line that I really kind of live and die by these days is, you can't make sense out of nonsense. And that right there was a whole bucket of nonsense. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think that the Detroit Lions will only go as far as Jared Goff will take them? Or do you think that, no, this team is a great team with great coaching, and Jared Goff matters to his team just as much as any other quarterback does? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.